Hi friends, it's the end of the month. I should have posted this sooner, but I don't know. Things are a little crazy, a little hectic around the world. And like many of us, I got distracted. But I want to start this video off by saying I believe it is not only important but necessary that we participate in our communities and serve our communities. And I also want to emphasize that we serve our communities in ways that bring us joy so that we can bring joy to others. There's so much terrifying things being reported in the news, and I'm not trying to avoid any of that. What I'm saying is how inspiring and amazing it is to see people stand up and fight injustice. But if you're anything like me, you're sitting on the sidelines and just watching and wondering, how can you participate? As maybe you can't join the fight physically, but you want to support and take care of the people in your community. As a writer, I have learned and I have understood, and now I believe that it is our duty and our gift to be able to write nonfiction and fiction, because they are both a mirror to what's happening in our world. As creatives in general, we've been given the gift to create art that inspires hope, that inspires change, or tells the ugly truth. Because the truth is truly all that matters. So if you can't join the fight physically, you don't have to. You have a talent and an ability to serve your community in other ways. This video was supposed to primarily focus on character development and writing, but it just feels a little out of place to be like, this is how we developed a character. So I want to read a little bit about the book, and it's kind of an internal monologue for our protagonist, Tom Morant. But I'll give a little background on him first and a little bit of tea on our book. Points of Failure, Volume 1, Interwoven, by myself, H.E. Wallace, and Roy Qualls, is a speculative sci-fi novel that takes place 250 years in the future. And as you might imagine, we have done a number on Mother Earth, and Mother Earth has grown exceedingly tired of our presence. And it has become a common goal, which is what we call it, the common goal, for all of humanity to find a new planet. And as you might imagine, Mars is a very convenient option. It's right next door, a few billion miles away, but relatively close. And Tom Morant, as a child, was just fascinated by this. He loved space. His dad actually was an engineer to help work on the ships to take the cohort of 5,000 humans from Earth to Mars. But then tragedy strikes, and Ta's entire world changes drastically. And as you might understand, that when your external world changes, your internal world changes as well. And I also feel like, as you might understand, he was not given the time, nor the place, nor the encouragement to address those feelings, to actually mourn the events that took place that dismantled his entire world. Instead, his love for space, his high intelligence, his abilities and capacities were used to serve the common goal. And this was done so in a way that he was able to go to the best schools, he was able to climb to the top of the global intelligentsia, he was able to make great achievements, and he even built the engine capable of faster than light space travel. And this is what lands him on the command team for the Emoja mission that's taking the first humans ever out of our solar system toward the heart of the galaxy in search of a new planet Earth. So that's where we're starting. That's how the book opens up. But sometimes you got to really question what's going on around you. And sometimes you got to find another way to serve humanity. Maybe you can't join the physical fight. Maybe there's another way. But first, you got to start questioning it and really questioning the system. Now, I folded this page. Okay. So it's more of a monologue for Ta. The common goal had been around since before I was born. According to Sam, it was a reactionary solution to a much deeper problem. What that problem was, as far as I understood it to be, was that Earth was spent and humanity was doomed if we didn't leave. The common goal, like Sam's student said, had united the global community. Finally. The grand exodus was something all peoples could agree upon. Whole economies pivoted in the direction of achieving the common goal. Vast amounts of funding that had previously been used for war and destruction was shunted toward research, design, and space exploration. Humanity was, at an instant, relatively speaking, united. It gave everyone a purpose to strive toward, a vision, a hope, a reason to keep going despite the suffering. My parents believed in it. They saw the beauty in it. They raised me to see it too, and I did. I saw it when I saw those 5,000 people board those 30 ships and blast off toward Mars. I saw unity, humility, and courage. I saw heroes. I saw sacrifice. Then I was sent to a school that taught the common goal doctrine. My skills and talents were nurtured and made useful by it. The common goal became more personal when Itzel revealed her first pregnancy, and it gave me purpose when we lost our babies. The common goal employed me, housed me, and my family. Why would I question it? It would be like questioning what my father taught me. All things in God's time. Maybe it wasn't happening in my lifetime, but I was sure the common goal would be achieved in Mai's. That's all I could strive for. That's all I knew. But the problem wasn't Earth, not according to Soul. The problem was that people forgot their purpose. Once you forget your history, you forget your purpose. That's on page 159, chapter 34, 159 of the text. Once you forget your history, you forget your purpose. And I think a lot of what we're battling is this denial of our history, this erasure of our history, a dismantling of our history. And if we don't understand our history, if we're not even taught it, and we don't know to question what's happening. And I think if we take that deeper inside of ourselves, inside of the characters that we write, if you deny your past, like Todd denied his past, the tragedies that happened in his childhood, if you neglect those histories, if you deny their existence, and you miss out on your true calling. I used to be a physical therapist, and I went into physical therapy for a few different reasons. As a child, I was very much into the arts. I was in plays, I played instruments, I sang, I danced, I painted, I sketched, I read, I wrote, all of it. I loved the arts. However, I was never really taught like you could make money in the arts unless you were big time Hollywood, whatever. And then there was always like the phrase starving artist, who wanted that. And I didn't understand how I could like improve humanity by being an artist. I think so much of what we're taught is like an artist is really just being very selfish and self-centered. And I've learned since then, but that was like the message being fed to me. And I really liked learning about the human body. And I really enjoyed biology in high school, chemistry and physiology in college, and when it came time to pick my major, I picked exercise biology, but I didn't really know what I was going to do with it. And by the time my senior year came around, I asked my classmates, what are you guys doing? And they said something in the medical field, nursing, doctor, anesthesiologist, I don't know. And I knew enough about myself that I did not want to look at blood and needles. So a friend of my mom's had suggested that I shadow a physical therapist. I thought about chiropractor, and I should have listened to my chiropractor because I think he really saw me and said, you got to really like people to do this job. And it's not that I don't like people. It's just I got my battery pack is about this big. I am wiped out very quickly. Anyways, should have listened. But I shadowed a physical therapist at a clinic, and I was like, oh, I could do this. This seems fun. It was outpatient orthopedic. And so I applied to Wisconsin, go Badgers. I got in on Wisconsin. I enjoyed my classes. I enjoyed my classmates. I enjoyed my rotations. I graduated. I passed my boards. I started working. I enjoyed the first couple of years. And then I started pursuing all the certifications and specializations. I was a board certified clinical orthopedic. I don't even know what it's called. Manual therapy certification, other manual therapy certification, whatever. I had alphabet soup behind my name. I had a stacked resume in 6 years. I was even managing a clinic. But the higher I climbed, the worse I felt. The more depressed I became. And even though I was like, I just need to work harder, I need to just be better, I need to improve constantly, when those pieces of paper, those certifications weren't doing anything to make me feel better about myself, I turned to drugs and alcohol. That got me nowhere, except deeper into the hole of depression. And I just realized, like our character Ta, I was just running away from myself. I was not addressing the fundamental issue. And I'm not going to get into my personal matters, but it wasn't anything related to what happened to Ta Morant in the book. And you learn what happens pretty soon in the book. And it's none of the torture that he experienced. But I felt like I was torturing myself. I look back and see that I was torturing myself, forcing myself to pursue higher certifications and also binging on the weekends. It's an awful combination. So in 2020, and I'm not talking about the big Miss C coming through and wrecking shop. I'm talking about the other things that happened in 2020. A lot of the violence. And I was living in northern Florida, which is the deep south. And I'm from the Midwest, and that's a different type of racism. That's a different type of racism. And it got real hot that summer. And like Ta's external world suddenly changed, it's how my external world suddenly changed there. And I could not escape anything. Now, you're like, you did escape. I did. I quit my job. Yes, I did. I quit my job. I was part of that great resignation in 2020. Amen. Thank you, God, for giving me that escape route, because I would not be here if I did not hop off that ride. But taking that risk, acknowledging that I was on the wrong track, allowed me the time and the energy to actually address some of my personal issues. I found myself being able to detach from addictions and habits. I found myself reconnecting with my faith and my spiritual practices. I reconnected with my father, albeit that was upon his request. It was still a part of me that needed healing. I searched every part of myself that needed healing, and all the while I explored my creativity. I would not have been able to write this book if I didn't address my personal issues. I learned that all of the parts of me that I wanted to hide, all of the parts of me that I thought were just too awkward and too ugly, suddenly found a place in writing out this character. It gave him teeth, it gave him tears, it gave my hurt a place to go with purpose. And I hope that, Roy and I both hope, that this book is not only like a fun read, but that it inspires somebody to go deeper within themselves, because we didn't write a book about escape. Like a lot of sci-fi books are about escape. We didn't write a book about escape. We wrote a book of you questioning, what if you can't? What then? Another part I'll read is a little later in the book. This is around a point in time when there's a little bit of kerfuffle between Tom and his wife. 17 years. I put 17 years toward the common goal. Forever onward. It was all I'd known. I was raised up believing that it was the only solution. Onward toward the goal. She tried to tell me on my first day at the spot and encouraged me to look inward, to rest, to take time to understand what I'd just been through. But I was never trained to look inward. I was always focused out there, where the sun can't quite reach. As I stood there alone in the night, I had nowhere else to look but at myself. I've kind of strayed from my original script with all of this. But relating it back to what's going on in the world, I know what my abilities and my talents are. I am not a naturally violent person. I'm not a naturally loud person. I am a naturally creative person. And I firmly believe that it is our duty and our calling as writers and as creatives in general to serve our community with our talents. So if you're feeling like you can't jump in the fight for whatever reason, it doesn't matter. I hope that you use your talents, your abilities, and your skills openly, without fear, to inspire hope and tell the truth. So please take care of yourself and be kind to everyone around you. If you want to know more about our book, you can go to our website, noetics.com. You can order a copy for yourself there. If you want to keep up with what Roy and I are doing, you can subscribe to our Substack newsletter, Noetics News, Views, and Muse. If you want to learn a little bit more about our characters, we're still building up our Patreon. And if you want to learn more about me and my mess, you can stick around here and subscribe to my channel, like, comment, share this video. And I'm just really grateful that you're here. So do something creative. Put all that hurt, that frustration, that anger, and that fear to a soundtrack. Make some beautiful music, some moody music. Paint it. Give it some color. Put it in words. Get it out of yourself. Get some joy in you so you can spread joy to others. All right, take care. Bye.